Hi everyone, it's Kevin at Motorcycle Repair. Here we have a Yamaha YZF R6. This one's a 2000 model. It's got a slight fault. When you're riding along, it will just cut out like you've knocked the kill switch. Now, sort of diagnosed it. I've took it for a ride. I'm pretty sure it's not fuel related, as often if it's fuel related, it would bog out and slowly die and do all sorts of things. I'm pretty sure it is ignition related. Now, on this model, it's fitted with a factory fitted immobilizer, which is here. Just show you that. So that's a data tool, that's a very common immobilizer, and to be honest with you, if it's factory fitted, it would 9 times out of 10 be this on this model. Any Yamahas really from about 98 to about 2004 is fitted with that model. So obviously, as you can see, it's not a part of the bike anymore, so I have removed it, which, being factory fitted, is not an easy job. I've done quite a few before, shall we say. I've done a lot of non-factory fitted ones, which is the same unit but not been fitted in the factory, which is a lot easier to remove. But these factory fitted ones are very complicated. It's all built into the wiring harness, built into the connection blocks, and there's no sort of wiring diagram of what it does and what each wire does. As you can see on here, the wires are not colour coded. But before I cut all them wires, I spent a good half a day just checking what each wire does. So say one wire goes to the CDI unit, which earths the CDI unit. Obviously without the earth it won't get a spark. Another wire will go down to your solenoid, and then go off somewhere else, and just so on and so on and so on. But you've just got to go through a certain process of testing everything, looking at the wiring diagram for the bike, and then coming up with a plan on paper, so you can always go back to it and test obviously all the wires with a multimeter, as we got here, a test light as well, which is always handy. I come up with a plan, I mark it all up before I even cut any wires, because I've seen people just cut wires and not get the bike started again, as you could damage the CDI unit, which is there. Obviously you could damage the wiring harness, you could damage this relay, which is a relay that does quite a lot. It's an ignition relay. It does your starter solenoid, it does your side stand, it does your kill switch, it does quite a bit, so you don't really want to damage that, because it's not the easiest thing to test. But yeah, this one's gone to plan. If you turn it on, you will hear a loud clicking noise. That's just the fuel pump. See? That starts well now. So yeah, this is just a good video to show people the difference between a factory fitted immobilizer and a non-factory fitted. There's a lot of bikes out there, R6s, R1s, Yamaha cruisers, like dragsters, even Triumphs use the data tool. And older bikes, the data tool does go wrong. And yeah, if it's factory fitted, it is going to take a lot of time to remove it. If it's non-factory fitted, it can be done within an hour or so. But this one's took me probably 3/4 of the day. You don't want to rush this. You really want to take your time and make sure you diagnose each wire correctly, and double check it as you go along. And remove it. So yeah, I would suggest, if you've got an older bike, you either replace the data tool with a more modern system, or you remove it, as you will have problems with it down the line somewhere. The last thing you want really is to be somewhere far from home and then your bike won't start. So I have removed quite a few of these. I've removed them on requests when there hasn't been a problem, and I've removed them when there has been a problem, like this one for instance, or hopefully this one. So yeah, but it's just a good little video really to show guys with these older bikes with immobilizers, they can be removed. The two different types of fitment, and just a bit of an insight so people know sort of how they work and what they do. I will scratch the surface actually and just tell you, you know, how they do work, which will be a good insight. So basically, you have two circuits. You have your ignition circuit, which is spark, which is CDR unit, coils, you know, your ignition barrel, your kill switch, etc. Now that is immobilized by this unit. So when the immobilizer is immobilized, you will not get a spark. If you manage to get the ignition on and you bump start it, you will not get it started. So that's the ignition side of it. Now you've also got the starter circuit, or the starter side, which is what engages the starter motor, which you've got the starter button there. Now if it was immobilized and the ignition was on, you would press it and you'd get nothing. Now you say, okay, we could just bypass it by going to the starter motor with a live feed. Okay, yeah, it will turn the engine over, but again, because the ignition is immobilized, it will not start, it will not spark. So that is how your immobilizer works. It's quite a technical thing. You know, I've seen people just cut these wires and just never get the bike started again. You've got to be pretty good at wiring to tackle it and pretty confident. But as you can see down here, we can undertake these sort of jobs. This is I've probably removed a good 15 of these data tools, I would say, over the years. The majority of them are not factory fitted. The majority of them are actually aftermarket, and you know, are after the factory fitted alarm systems, which is a hell of a lot easier than this. But I like a challenge. The challenge is complete. Hopefully that was the problem. There's a slight chance it might not be, but the customer wanted the immobilizer removing anyway, as further down the line. Well, actually, he's already had problems previously, like a year or so ago with it. So he just wanted to remove it. So if this isn't the problem, which I'm sure it is, because I've had similar problems with these before, it was doing similar things. If it isn't that, then it's all not wasted. He's got a bike that isn't going to let him down because the immobilizer is broken or doesn't want to play. So if you would like your immobilizer removing, or you'd like a immobilizer fitting, or an alarm fitting or removing, obviously we can do all those kind of things down here. You know, we try and take our time, we do our best. So all I can say is message me with what bike you've got, what alarm it is, and I will get back to you with a fixed price. You know, if I give you a fixed price, so if it takes longer, it takes longer. You won't be paying any more. But that's just a bit of an insight to an immobilizer, to how we remove them. I'm not going to tell you and show you wire by wire, because that would just be silly. Somebody could misuse that information. But if you want any advice, and you know, I sort of know you're a customer of ours, I will give you advice on it, on how to do it. If you are confident in doing it, that's not a problem. That's what the bike scene's all about for us. We like to help people. You know, people know us, will know that. All I can say really is send us a message if you get stuck, or if you haven't got a immobilizer. It's a good thing to watch just to see how the immobilizer works, you know, how it all goes on inside there, and yeah, hopefully I've given you a bit of an insight. So I'll keep you posted on how the fault is developed. Hopefully it's been cured. So watch this space. Thanks for watching and ride safely. See you all soon. Thanks.